Hi guys, welcome to Paranormal Synergy. I'm your host, James.
Hey, I'm John.
And I got my wife, Kristin, with me today. Just kind of jumping right into things. We haven't seen each other for a while, so we have lots of stories to share. Apparently. And I'll jump right in. My wife surprised me with a message or a call. I can't even remember what it is, what you did.
A message?
Yeah, a message. That she saw the same lights that John saw, which is pretty wild in a local area. So I'm gonna let you share that story.
Oh, God. Okay, so I was coming home past Molly's, and next to the where you cross over Molly's coming home to our house, and there's this triangle on the right hand side, and I pulled over because I remember John talking about the lights in the triangle. So I pulled over and I tried to take a picture, tried to take a video, couldn't get either. And then I called my husband to try to get him to. Actually, I texted him, but he thought I meant that I was broken down, so he was trying to figure out how to come get me because I'm like, you gotta come see these lights, get in the house now. And then by the time I was done texting him, I looked, there was only two. Well, at that time, I actually looked on the other side, and actually on the other side of that road, way on the other side, there was three lights in a triangle. And then by the time I looked back to the other two were gone. And then I was like, okay, it's time to come home. But it was neat to see since I'd heard it before. And
Does that sound like what happened to you?
Just so mad. just mad I missed it. Jealous that you got to see it, not me. And I'm so glad you did.
Right, you get some kind of justification.
Right?
I'm still yet to see these lights.
No. At that time.
At the time.
No. Remember, mine were it was like a flying V,
Yeah.
lights in the flying V over by the school. So you had a triangle.
mine were actual triangle, and what really made me stop was the fact that they were perfectly spaced, like a triangle.
Right.
And they sat there for a while. I tried video, camera, everything, and I couldn't get anything to picture them up. And when I looked down to text him, then when I looked back up, it was where there was only two on the side, but then there was the same V on the other side.
Do you think it was a V, one object,
no,
or three objects making a V?
Spaced. It looked like it was spaced very far apart. They would have had to be
So probably three objects.
a decent size object if it was just one object.
That's wild.
That's down in Phoenix. They had Phoenix lights.
Yeah.
And it was like that. They're in sequence, but they're spaced far apart.
Oh yeah. I've heard about the Phoenix lights and the lights I was watching about on that whatever that TV show was when we were in Ocean City. I was watching about how pilots back in whatever day 60s, 70s, or whatever it was.
Yeah.
They were reporting objects that they couldn't explain, and they were sitting there talking about how they were moving in directions that couldn't feasibly be possible, even for now, aircraft that's going around. All of a sudden you're darting in a direction,
and then it goes off to the left.
And goes off to the left, and then it's gone, and whatever. It's just unexplainable. That's what it is. It's an unexplained object. So
that's why we do this show.
That was definitely neat because I've always seen pictures of them like a flat triangle sort of, but it was like an up and down triangle, and they weren't moving anywhere. They were just staying there because if they'd moved, they would have the triangle would have moved or the spacing would have been different. But it stayed like that until the one disappeared, and then there were three on the other side.
Yeah.
Well, and there's nothing out there, so it's not like cowbells or something up in the sky.
Well, I appreciate you sharing that story, honey.
Okay.
I love you.
Love you.
All right.
So I'll tell you what happened to me the other morning. I leave the house around 6:15.
Yeah.
No later than 6:15. I try not to. Anyways, so I walk out the door, and I have a tree tree line right next to my house at the back door. The branches come over, and I got a tree right off of the corner, right in front off to the right.
Oh yeah.
So I'm walking down them steps just to give you, I don't know what's in that little wooded area. So I come out the door, I close it, I lock it, I turn, and I hear this up in the corner of the tree, by right where in the corner of the house.
Yeah.
I hear it sounds like cluck, cluck, cluck. And cluck, cluck. It was the weirdest thing. And I kicked something loud, and it got loud, and it would dim out, like it would Like I scared it, but not off like I wanted to.
Oh.
And then it started up loud again, and I was like, "Well, it's not going away. It gets me.
Yeah,
I gotta
right.
go to work. You gotta do what I gotta do." And then I got on the steps, and then I didn't hear it anymore.
Huh. Ugh. Little creature fucking with you.
Which made me think, what other creatures are out that we hear about out here in the world?
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, obviously, I'm sure. Well, we're always discovering things as a humanity,
right?
Discovering new species, like we were talking about the giant squid and things like that. But I'm trying to remember where I was. This is stupid memories. Actually, I have it happen all the time in the house. Like occasionally, I'll catch something out of the corner of my eye, and I'll look, and it won't be anything there.
Yeah.
And when I was talking about where I do have an entity, this happens almost once or twice a week, where it sits on the corner of my bed. I feel it impressed down, and sometimes when I'm laying in my bed and got my headphones on, I'm trying to tune out the world. It's kind of my relaxed time. Like I put music on or watch videos or whatever. Everybody else is asleep. I'll see things on the left. It's normally my left side, left corner of my eye, because I'm focusing on a screen, and that's
out of your peripheral.
It's out of my peripheral, and then I look and there's nothing there. And I've had that a lot. Like I said, it's like once or twice I get the sitting, but I get the visual peripheral a lot. And it's not like floaters. So you can get floaters in your eyes and whatever. No, this is actually, you see something dart across, and it's not there. For me, it's not shadows. Like some people get shadows. To me, it looks like a person, like an entity. Like you get.
Well, they come either shadow, darks, or images.
Yeah, exactly.
But you can always tell them apart.
Right. I've even seen mist or smoke.
Yeah,
I've had that too. But for whatever reason, this last couple of weeks, it just seems like me seeing things has been increasing and ramping up. Now, I don't know if there's any cord, something that's making it happen, or if I'm just becoming more relaxed with not being as active as I normally am, or whatever. I'm opening up to it, but I'm definitely seeing more things, which is interesting to me.
I was at that. Since we've been doing this, I was in my bedroom, laying down, just chilling out, and we thought we heard one of our kids come up and called his name.
Mm-hmm.
And he's the one that's weird anyways. When you call him to the door, he's like, "What?"
Right.
It doesn't even speak. But I saw what looked like a black hoodie.
Okay.
For a split second coming, because I have a bathroom door that I keep open. Parked that door and looked like it turned around and left. And we're like, kept calling him, nothing. And we're like, well, he's weird. Good weird. Really good weird.
Like he showed up.
But he's like, left. He doesn't talk. He's like,
yeah,
it's quiet. I just thought he just didn't want to say nothing and went back downstairs.
Yeah.
Or didn't think he heard us.
You talk to him about it?
No.
No.
I don't really care.
Yeah.
I heard something in my bathroom once that made no sense, because both the animals were in my bed. I'm like, oh well.
That's crazy. Yeah, I mean, I really want to have the chance to get out and about in some people's homes, and I can't wait until whatever heck in the world we'll call it, COVID-19, 2021, whatever, just dissipates, so everybody can get back to normal. But I do know my sister is working on getting in touch with a few people to investigate, as well as she has invited me for the investigation, which I told you about earlier.
Yeah.
And that will take some time. She's been hearing, I'm sure she said a Korean ghost or entity or spirit, or it could be a Vietnamese, but
dude, if you're
if
wrong,
I'm wrong, she's going to blast me, and she will let me know, because she does listen to the episodes. So, sorry, Becky, but not sorry. It is what it is, and I can't wait until we do the investigation together. On that note, I have, as I showed you earlier, gotten a lot of investigation gear,
a lot of nifty toys.
I got spirit box, got some cameras, microphones, illuminators, IR illuminators, and I'm going to be modding those two cameras, pulling their IR filters off so they are full spectrum.
Nice.
So we will have the entire thing happening.
We'll have a great time.
Yep. So just got to figure out the next adventure on that, but I do want to keep the podcast going, and unfortunately, just life has been just insane on both of our parts lately.
I know, the last two weeks we haven't been able to get together,
and with me still recovering, it's a blue jay. With me still recovering, it's been hard too, because pain management has been one of those things that's just been up and down.
Yeah.
So, but things are getting good.
I got to tell you what I saw the other day.
What'd you see?
So I'm driving home from Galena around this time of day, and that space between outside Galena and right before Molly's,
Yes.
that stretch of road.
Yes.
I was over there. I was on that. And I've never stopped to go look at something while I'm driving. But I saw a black dot. At first, you know how you look like you see something off in the distance and it's just a bird?
Yeah.
In size relativity? No. I actually got to see it in almost a 360 on a 180 spectrum. As I'm driving and watching, I was like, oh, it's a bird. And I kept going. I'm like, wait a minute, it's not a bird. It's kind of round.
Yeah.
And as, that road winds, scenery changes. I'm watching it and it's black, it's orbish, and it's almost round.
Huh.
And it's not moving.
Oh, wow.
As I'm driving. So the distance doesn't change.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's weird because, if you're following it one way or if you're following it the other way, you still see the train on it move. Nope. Stayed in one spot and I stopped. I was like, okay, now I got to stop because I can't get through the trees. Perfect opening. And all of a sudden, as I'm watching it, it's starting to move away.
Wow.
I'm like, okay, it's going. And as I'm going, it's getting further and further and further and further away. And then all of a sudden, I just can't see it anymore.
Damn. That's wild. I actually got to catch you up with the still pond investigation that me and Becky and her boyfriend.
Was that his third is?
Yeah. So we were at the Still Pond Cemetery, and because this is something that nothing was caught on video for, and unfortunately, this was one of those just like personal things that were happening. Well, anyways, we show up there and we're in the car. She had me drive because she wanted me to drive. Let's just put it that way. So she had me drive, and we're getting in the cemetery, right? And I'm like going down the road, and I'm like, hey, Becky, I don't know what your input is, but I really feel like whatever is going on is to the right side of the cemetery. Like, it just seems darker, and like the energy is, you could feel it even in the car, which was crazy.
What did she say?
She agreed with me. Like, it felt like her intuition was a little bit further, and I'll explain to it why this was happening. Hers was a little further, and I once we were getting to it, I completely agreed with the sense of feeling. Anyways, we both get out of the car. Tommy's a little skittish, and I'm a good anchor. Like, I'm a good grounding point for energy. I'm good about bringing everybody down, and I don't let things manipulate me, good or bad. But we're heading toward the far right side of the cemetery, and when you get there, I'll have to take in the daylight. There's this tree, dead tree, that just, huge tree goes up, and
typical spooky
it looked like a Sleepy Hollow kind of thing, Sleepy Hollow kind of tree. And we get here, and the energy at first was like very ominous, mysterious, and kind of like, you just felt pulled there.
Yeah.
As we're setting up the equipment, it felt like it left. Like, all of a sudden everything was fine. You didn't feel anything. So then I'm like, well, the house that Kristin was talking about is further, down the cemetery, and the entity that she saw is that way too. And I almost feel like that's where we need to go now. Like, we're feeling this pull. So what do? I'm like, I'm gonna leave the thermal camera here. Let's head on down there and we'll do our EVPs. So we walked down there, and what ended up happening, because you got to keep in mind this is dark. What ended up happening was, as we're walking down there, me and her and Tommy hear this cry, right? Well, before we heard this cry, this is the odd part. Tommy happened upon a little gravestone that said baby. There's no name, no nothing. It just said baby.
Oh, good God.
And we do have that on video, wherever I posted it, where you see the gravestone that says baby. So I'm like, wow, that's crazy. We heard that cry. Now, unfortunately, it wasn't caught anywhere on any EVP or camera. None of us got it. I've been talking to her about it. I'm like, we all heard it and we didn't catch it. So I can't really, go on from there. But I did have that experience. So we're walking down, and I happen upon a veteran's grave, and I'm reaching out to him. I think it's Sergeant Simpler. That was his name. Can't forget it because his name sounds wild. So I'm like, Sergeant Simpler, how you doing, sir? I just want to, see if you're here, and thank you for your, what you've done for our country. And basically, I'm talking respectfully as well as I can.
Right.
And, asking for responses. Nothing happens. And this is in the area where it was still feeling a little ominous.
Ominous.
Yeah. So things start to clear up again. I'm like, okay, well, now it kind of feels like it's back towards where we started. So we start getting it together, walking back towards where we started. And as we're walking, I'm sorry, I have to back up here. We were walking back towards where we started because I wanted to get the infrared gear and move it towards where we were.
Yeah.
So I go grab the infrared gear, which is on the video recording, and I start walking back to where the sergeant's grave was. On the way up, I catch barely with one of their flashlights the house that Kristin was talking about, which you have the road, you have the cemetery, and next to the road is the house, and the house is slanted at like, you know, something you see out of a crooked man's house, like it's slanted, ready to fall, and the whole nine. I really feel a strong pull to go there. And unfortunately, he didn't want to. And I get it, because, you know, it is a dangerous kind of situation. I'm the one that's ready to go balls out and go jump over a fence and climb in a house that's falling apart. But for safety reasons, we didn't go in.
Yeah.
But the pull really felt like it was there. So I moved the FLIR and the camera and put it on a gravestone facing the house. Unfortunately, it there's so much brush that it really couldn't push through all that branch stuff. And we did an EVP, and we really didn't get anything. But I in my heart, kind of felt like that's where I needed to go. But when we were done investigating there, and we're like, okay, we're going to wrap up, you know, the energy feels like it's gone. Because, you know, you do feel things dissipate over time.
Right.
So we start heading towards the car. When we're heading towards the car, Becky and I hear a whistle. Tommy does not. You know, like a kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Becky's like, did you hear that whistle? I'm like, yeah, I heard that whistle. So Tommy's like, I didn't hear that whistle. I'm like, well, it feels like it's on the other end of the graveyard. You know, like we're pointing down, like it feels like it's all the way down this graveyard. So, you know, she hops in the car and he's behind me. And then I hear two more whistles. She's in the car. She didn't hear him. He didn't hear him. I'm like, something's calling us. But here we are wrapping up. That's kind of how our day finished. Like, we didn't go to investigate it because at that point it was really late and we were wrapping up. So, and she had a long drive home. Yeah. But I mean, those were my experiences. I had really the cry. That one was a little heart touchy because it was like a baby cry. You could tell it was not mischievous like a demon trying to play with you. It seemed more like a baby, yeah, like a genuine baby. And with the whistle, that was just like we were getting toyed with. I felt like the entity kept moving from one end of the graveyard to another to pull us,
right? And
then one on the other and be like, "Hey, bye guys," you know, whistling, "I'm over here," you know. That's just how it felt the entire time.
When I was in the whole personal experience, I know when we just do everyday stuff,
yeah,
instead of investigating, that's a personal experience.
Yeah,
but when you're with other people and it messes with you personally,
yeah.
That's happened to me over at Gettysburg. So I walked in to get to the bathhouse because we were on our way to go someplace else. And, you know, there's people around. But as I'm standing there and it's fall, I hear, like, it sounds like somebody's walking on the leaves around the tree.
Oh, wow.
With me. And I'd look, nothing. Then it would happen on the other side. And I'm like, what the?
Yeah, what I don't understand, and even in that situation, is why. Well, I guess I kind of answered my own question. Me and Becky heard it, like with our senses, but Tommy didn't. So, I mean, does that mean the entity is manipulating our senses so we can hear these things?
Yes.
Yeah.
It messes with you personally to where only you hear it.
Yeah.
And you're like, you look at other people, does it sound like, did you hear that? And you're like, I don't hear anything.
Oh, it's either that or we're just attuned to hear whatever that
they want.
Yeah. Whatever
that heard.
Yeah.
It happens all the time, especially out in Gettysburg. Like, you'll hear drums.
Oh, wow.
And you know, like like cadence too. And sometimes you just play it off. Yeah, well, there's, you know, like reenactors and whatnot.
Right.
And as you make your way around the facility or the park, you find that there's no reenactments going on. Boy Scouts are off somewhere else.
Yeah.
You know, whoever could make a drum sound there's no one there.
God, I was just thinking about it'd be nice to get a hold of somebody who's a reenactor and, you know, hearing some of the stories they have to have, especially when they're dressed up.
Yeah.
You know,
I actually do have one.
Oh, okay.
So I was doing the Ratcliffe Mill. This is way back.
Yeah.
And one of the carpenters was a reenactor.
Okay.
For the Union. He's like, and we were just talking. I was like, yeah, you know, that place is like calling it blah, blah, blah. He says, oh, yeah, we know. Like, what do you mean you know? He goes, all right. So we were doing our reenactment weekends. We were up by a monument. And me and my buddy were just sitting there, and a red-haired sergeant comes up to us and goes, you boys need to know blah, 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 blah. Oh, by the way, here's some ammo. And rolled out.
Oh, okay.
And we're like, that's weird. Okay. They go back to where their guys are, and they're like, anybody else seen this redheaded sergeant? They're like, ain't nobody like that exists here today.
Nice.
And he's like, and then when they reached in his pocket, he actually had live powder.
Wow.
Yeah. He's like, so not only did we get a full apparition and interacted with them personally, thinking that it was one of their men, and giving them something tangible.
Yeah. Out of nowhere.
Yeah, out of nowhere.
That's wild.
When
you wonder if, like, you said that was Union. You know, if the Union trooper, just if that's the word I'm looking for, where they kind of they're intelligent, but they're going through something, thinking they're part of it, you know, and they don't even know.
They're part of that time.
Yeah, they're part of that time, and they don't even know why. You know what's going on. I couldn't even imagine, like, if I was to dress up in something from the 30s and go into a house that was built in the 30s and people passed away in that time, make you wonder if they would be more amped to manifest instead of being confused about what's going on with what's around them with new technology and all this stuff.
Something familiar.
Yeah.
And they had to open up.
Yeah. Which is another reason why I think objects are so easy to be energized with spirit energy. Something that they've just been going over and over and over. Oh, God. Sorry, audience. I've been in pain lately. I'm feeling it.
So there was another time where Jamie and my sister-in-law saw an apparition full on
at Gettysburg too.
Yeah. Oh, and the same night that I had a personal experience at the campsite. So we had this. God, these kids were little. They had those swords that made noise.
Oh yeah.
They were out they got no turn off, so it's laying out on the ground, and she hears it go off, and then it goes off. Right? And then it goes off in periodic order, like timely.
Yeah.
So she's like, what is it? And she looks out, and there's a soldier patrolling our campsite.
Oh, wow.
So every time he walked over, he set it off.
Nice.
And she watched him do it. She's like, I said, were you a little scared? She goes, no, I actually slept good.
Yeah.
I felt like we were being protected.
Yeah.
I was like, that's neat.
Yeah.
But the same day, well, almost right before bed, this is at bedtime. This is when 2008, I tore my shoulder.
Yeah.
So I'm in a sling in April, sleeping in a round chair, fold-out chair in the middle of the tent because I can't lay on my back.
Right.
The front of the tent caves in and bounces back out. Like somebody ran into it.
Yeah. Not even knowing it was there, probably.
Right. Like running through the woods, they hit the tent.
Yep.
Not like, I mean, either it stopped them or they went through it and they're, it popped back because, but it was wild.
You just made me remember about, we had this kid's toy, like a baby kid toy. It was a carousel horse, all plastic, like you think from the 30s and 40s, right? And it had electronics in it to make it do like this music or whatever. All right. And when Alanis and Brandon had it as babies, it was just something that was given from Kristin's grandparents, and that's how typically things get thrown out to other people. But anyways, so this toy was designed that if you basically rocked it, it would make music. Right. Okay. And it had batteries, and they had it for ever and ever and ever, and then it went from the first set of kids to the second set of kids and so we'd replace batteries and so on, so on, so on. Well, anyways, why I'm bringing it up is a lot of times in the middle of the night we'd hear this carousel toy play music, and I'm like, it's just the batteries dying messing with it, right? I pulled the batteries out of the toy and decided I was going to throw it away because I had enough of this freaking toy, as many parents probably understand. So I threw it in our trash. When I went to go take it to the trash, the thing started playing music on its own. No batteries. It's been discharging for weeks. It's not like it's has a capacitor holding it. Right. This thing was playing music on its own. I was like, oh, fuck that. I pulled that toy out and started smashing the hell out of it. And I'm like, I don't want to even play any games with you. But it just made me think about that energy, and sometimes things get stored. I don't know what triggered it. I don't care, but it ain't doing it now.
That makes me think of I was at the house by myself, and this is back when we lived on Travis Trail.
Yeah.
So mom and all them lived 10 houses down, literally. So I go home to get something, and I'm like, oh, I gotta use the bathroom. So I'm in there doing my thing, and I hear one of their toys go off. I'm like, you know.
Yep. Exactly. See
No.
it happening.
It's the leapfrog player.
Oh yeah.
They when they're standing there, they can touch it and it'll go. Oh yeah,
like our power pad from back in the day.
right. But it was going off by itself, and I'm like, So I go check on it. It's off, of course.
All right.
I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. None of it makes any sense. I go back, grab the thing we came in there for, went and told my wife and everybody. And she's like, it's probably the battery's dying. I checked the batteries, they're perfectly fine.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I have too many weird things like that happen.
I haven't had shit like that happen in a long time.
Oh, yeah.
Since the other house.
Another reason I don't like battery operated toys in my house.
Like you're
giving a spirit something to play with you.
That's why I told my wife. She's like, we need to get an Alexa. I was like, why? So it could go off in the middle of the night? No, thank you.
I have the Google equivalent of it, and I'll tell you, it does have a mind of its own sometimes. And you'll just be talking, and either a light will come on, or they'll start playing a song or whatever. And I get, it's voice activated sometimes, but you gotta have some cues to make these things happen.
Go off. You gotta literally say its name, or whatever it is.
I just feel like a demon. It's like, oh, Google. Like, no, Google.
You need to play the peanut butter and jelly song.
All of a sudden, my lights turn red, which they can do, by the way. Puts the devil comes back to Georgia, gets kicked on, or whatever the song is. I'm like, no, I don't want to sell my soul.
The devil came down the barrel.
Yeah.
I'm not to fuck with James.
I don't play the fiddle, and I don't want a golden guitar.
You can sell that guitar.
You could sell that guitar. I don't know. Now my soul seems like it might be worth the money. Nah, I don't need the greed. Good stuff.
Oh man, that's funny.
I'm sure somebody on the other end of this podcast is laughing or going, "What's wrong with these guys? They're talking about selling their souls for guitars."
Oh man,
and I really want to go to that house at some point. I'm probably gonna just do it.
I'll go with you. You know I will. You know I will.
Just do it.
I got 0.
It'd be like no trespassing. I'd be like, check one for my bucket list. All right, cool. All right.
I was been checked off for me.
Danger. Yeah, I know. Mine definitely has. Number 2, danger could fall down. All right, we're doing this. Is there any other dangers? Oh well. Well, I think I'm pretty much done for the day. What about you?
Yeah.
Guys, I hope you have a wonderful night, and I hope you enjoy listening to our podcast. We got another one coming up next week, and I'm going to make sure to stay on top of these so we can have some fun and get your reactions. So I'm going to say peace.
Peace.